Welcome to the Double D Trailers podcast. Today we are jumping feet first into towing and towing issues, trying to dissect lots of information there. For this episode, I had a bit of fun. I actually called multiple vehicle dealerships from Chevy, GMC, Ford, Dodge. I talked to lots of sales folks, towing specialists, and looked at used vehicles. So I'll share with you some of the information that I found. I've been doing this a long time now, over half my life, soon be 30 years on that. I think we're at 26 right now. But, over the years, I've sort of identified three different types of customers or encountered that come to us. And, the first type is the customer that specs out their horse trailer needs first. We'll go through build out process, we price it out, we do a drawing on it, we determine and really just flesh out all of the needs that are there, whether it's a gooseneck or a bumper, number of horses, LQ, non-LQ, the double side ramp, the wheelbase. There's so many factors that go into the towing equation. And once this particular customer has that knowledge and information, whether or not they buy the trailer or not, doesn't really matter. But then, you would be equipped to go to a dealership and say, hey, this is what I need in these numbers. So congratulations if you are that customer. You should always spec out your horse trailer needs first and determine all the parameters of it, and then go vehicle shopping to purchase a vehicle that's adequately rated to safely haul the load that's being carried. The second type of customer that we often encounter, you already have the tow vehicle. I probably have more issues with bumper pulls and then half-ton truck, that particular market. And, you already have your SUV, your new Chevy Tahoe or Yukon or Wagoneer or whatever you have. You just got it. 6 months later, you decide, hey, I want to get a new trailer. And so you start looking at the specs on your particular tow vehicle and then try to go trailer shopping to find a trailer that fits the vehicle. And unfortunately, that's really the backwards way to do it, because tow vehicles are designed to tow. One of the biggest misconceptions that I run into today in our industry of folks that are looking for information regarding towing, particularly if you're the customer number two, so you're looking for the lightest weight trailer. You're trying to make sure that, if your vehicle can tow 6,000 pounds, that your total loaded weight doesn't exceed that. And then more importantly is that tongue weight rating. The lighter, the better, right? And that's actually completely wrong. When shopping for a horse trailer, weight should be a concern. And you should be asking, hey, what does this thing weigh? And looking for the heaviest with the most weight of whatever trailer that you can find. Lighter weight trailers, we had a conversation this morning with someone looking at a European trailer. I'm well familiar with how they're built. There's no rocket science. It's basically fiberglass or fiber composite. Wall paneling, they're super lightweight. And they just don't have a lot of bracing in them. And, of course, you could Google what happens to one of those in an accident and actually see videos. They literally explode. Because something is lightweight and all the trailers built in the U.S., it doesn't mean that the manufacturer has developed some sort of rocket science material. They're building it out of, the latest technology using carbon fiber or anything like that. It's the same construction methods that we've had forever and a day. It's still aluminum, a combination of both composite materials. But at the end of the day, a bumper pull that's 15 feet in length compared to manufacturer A, B, C, D, and E, you should be purchasing a trailer from manufacturer that has the most weight, because that manufacturer has more bracing, thicker material, which results in stronger dividers, excess safety in case of a side swipe, rear-end collision, rollover situation. Trust me, I've seen all of those. And our product actually performs very well in that, and others do as well, and then some don't. When you're looking at a piece of tubing, you can't tell if it's a 1x2 tubing. You can't tell if it's a thick piece or a thin piece. And so from a builder perspective, as a manufacturer, and dealers and sales folks, they're always touting how lightweight the trailer is, and, you can pull it with anything and that type. But it simply means there's less bracing, thinner material. It's not going to withstand a high impact, high stress situation, even an unruly horse oftentimes. So that's my 2 cents worth for what it's worth there. And imagine getting in an automobile accident and you're riding around in a 5,000-pound SUV and you hit someone that's in a 3,000-pound car. Which one do you think is going to come out better in that scenario? So same with the trailer. More weight is your friend. The third type of customer that we often encounter is someone that also already has the tow vehicle, but yet comes to us and trying to get us to build a trailer that fits the tow vehicle. Almost, the proverbial round peg in the square hole, or vice versa. I don't know which. In fact, we have someone that we're working with now on that. This customer, this potential client, has an SUV, and in fact, I believe it's a Chevy Tahoe. It's 8,500 pound tow capacity, around an 800-pound tongue weight rating, and she continues to want to haul a 2-horse bumper pull and try to put cabinetry and living quarters and all these things in the front. Just the dry trailer itself, with the horses in there, but nothing in the front as far as cabinetry and finishing out, it's already at about 800 pounds. And so she's asking to move axles forward, which is a definite no-no. The axles, we position those to be idiot-proof, so to speak, meaning if you have a 2-horse trailer, you're hauling 1 horse in the front stall, that guy gets loose for whatever reason, it happens, the divider pops open, suddenly your horse walks to the back stall, or maybe you're hauling 1 horse in the back stall, and if those axles are moved forward, that could potentially result in a negative tongue weight, which will definitely throw you into the ditch. And then, of course, if we leave the axles where they should be, then you end up having excessive tongue weight on that particular tow vehicle. And that's also just as dangerous. The back end of the vehicle squats down. Your braking systems and such are not designed to really handle that. The suspension, the front tires are not firmly planted on the ground. If you have to suddenly swerve, you're not going to have the stability and control because you're overloaded. Even, if we're talking SUVs, drive your SUV with yourself in it and then pack in 6 passengers and some luggage, and you can feel how different it handles just with passengers and luggage, and trying to stop it if you're driving through the mountains, going around the curves. It makes a huge difference. Well, throw a 4,000-pound horse trailer behind it with 2 horses in it. And so, you really need a vehicle that is capable of doing that. So spec out your trailer needs first. Take that information and, go purchase the tow vehicle that is rated to handle that. Now, purchasing the tow vehicle. So what information do you need? You've got all these terms, GAWR, GVWR, payload, tongue weight. There's so many variables in it. So I called up multiple dealerships in Wilmington. I called a Chevrolet place, a GMC, a dealer, a used vehicle. And all of those, the first 3, I said, look, I'm looking for, of course, the Chevy was like a Tahoe or the Suburban. It was either the Tahoe or the Suburban, the longer one. And I said, I have a bumper pull 2-horse trailer. It's a warm blood size. It weighs 5,100 pounds empty, loaded with horses, tack and gear. I should be at about 7,500 pounds, and it's going to have approximately 11 or 1,200 pound tongue weight rating. So I gave the specs. Now, that tongue weight rating, that's going to be the number that it will be the most difficult for you as a consumer to figure out on a horse trailer. The dealers often, they don't know what the tongue weight is. They're going to fudge the numbers to make it seem lighter than what it is because they want to make a sale. Tongue weights vary significantly. If you add 1 foot to the trailer, you've changed the dynamics. If you add width or height. So it's something that you just need to make sure is correct, and the company that you're purchasing from is a reputable company, and they know what they're talking about. So I gave the specs. Hey, I need to haul this much weight. Here's the tongue weight. Will your Tahoe pull it? And of course, initially the sales folks are like, yeah, it's rated for 8,300 pounds. I'm hauling 7,500. Life is good. And then I followed up with my question of, well, what about the tongue weight? What is that rated? Oh, let me look it up. So then they look that up. They don't ask me. I have to provide the info. Let me look it up. And, the hitch rating is about 800 pounds of tongue weight. So obviously a 1,200 pound or 1,100 would exceed the manufacturer rating on that. And all three of those folks steered me in the right direction, in the honest direction of saying, hey, it's rated to pull the overall weight, but legally, all I can say is you would be overloading the vehicle based on what the manufacturer specs are. And so I was very appreciative of that because, if those were the correct numbers and scenario, I wouldn't be purchasing that particular SUV. I would either get a truck, something larger that's rated for it, or I would get rid of my warm bloods and go with a smaller trailer that would work. Well, that's a big deal too, trying to get rid of warm bloods and completely change horse breeds just because of a tow vehicle. That doesn't make any sense at all. So I continued to move down. I called a Ford place, and they had a used Yukon XL. I kept my mouth shut. I simply said, hey, we're towing 7,500 pounds on a 2-horse bumper pull. And the salesperson told me, she said, well, that particular vehicle is rated from 6,300 to 8,400 pounds. She said she Googled the information. And I said, well, the one that's on your lot, the used one, what is it rated for? And she said, well, I feel like that one would be closer to that 8,400 pound mark. I said, so what, do you recommend, will it pull this trailer safely, or do you not recommend it? She said, no, this one definitely should. It has the big V8 engine. I asked, were there any more numbers of the trailer that I needed to provide to her to make sure that my load was safe? And she said there was nothing else, that I was good to go. So, if I had purchased that vehicle and I pulled this trailer, which happens often all across the U.S., I would have been overloaded and my load would definitely have been unsafe. I called a Jeep dealership, and again, we'll move to goosenecks in a second and we'll wrap this up, but I spoke to the Jeep dealership, actually on a Wagoneer, and, talked to a person there, said, hey, got a bumper pull, weighs 7,500 pounds with the horses in it. Love your new Wagoneers. My wife thinks they're fantastic. Will it pull this trailer? And will it be safe? And the salesperson looked up on the chart and said, yeah, we've got this one, that on our lot. It's rated for, 8,000 pounds. But they said you can actually get one that's equipped with 10,000 pounds of tow capacity. And I'm like, wow, that's a really, really high tow capacity. So you think that it would pull it? And he said, yeah, if you're pulling 7,500 pounds, I always recommend to have at least another 1,000 pounds of capacity. So you need a vehicle that's rated at 8,500 or higher, which I thought was nice. But I asked the question again, are there any other numbers of this trailer that I should be aware of or provide to ensure that my load is safe when my wife is driving, and my kids are riding in there, and we're loaded, all those things. And definitely tow it, and no other numbers needed. So those were the words from on the Wagoneer and the Jeep dealership. And that would also have been an unsafe load because the Wagoneer, I think the hitch rating, depending on the specs, but you'll be at that 1,000-pound mark or less. And, a warm blood trailer and a reverse load at a 1,200-pound tongue weight, you're over that. So I moved on to a couple of truck dealerships. And one place that I called, I told them I was particularly interested in a Dodge. And, full disclosure, Dodge has one of the lowest payload. Nothing, sorry to throw stones at Dodge, but they have consistently over the years, perhaps they're improving, but over the years they've consistently had lower payload ratings than some of their counterparts of Ford or GMC and things like that. So I called on, and I'm talking like 3/4 ton versus 3/4 ton diesel, that type thing. I called the truck folks. Hey, I have a 3-horse trailer with living quarters, and this particular one. It weighs about 13.5 fully loaded, and I'm looking for a tow vehicle that can handle that. And so immediately the guy says, let me have a towing specialist call you back. I said, that would be fantastic. So the towing specialist called back, and he said, you're definitely going to need a 3/4 ton. I said, I like the diesel. Oh, yeah, the diesel will handle it. You're only hauling 13.5. Your 3/4 ton is going to get you significantly higher ratings than that. Again, I asked the question, are there any other numbers that you need to know on this trailer to make sure that my load is safe? I said, it's a really long wheelbase. I mean, the axles are way at the back, and it's got the living quarters on it. I mean, I'm trying to drop the hints of, hey, this thing's got a lot of tongue weight. And he said, no. He said, how long is it? And I gave him a number that would have been accurate. And he came back and said, no, you're definitely fine with this vehicle. It'll more than handle it. And, on the trailer that I was talking about and those specs, it would have had a tongue weight of over 3,000 pounds in the LQ living quarter. And that particular diesel truck that he and I were discussing, I looked it up, it had a payload rating of 2,690 pounds. So I would have immediately been over just by cranking the horse trailer down on the gooseneck ball of the truck. And that would have been before I put myself in it or any cargo or any passengers or any of those things. So definitely an overloaded vehicle, but again, another towing specialist. He told me what I wanted to hear so that they could, make that sale. Nobody ever asked me the question, well, you should really be concerned with the payload because these big, tall numbers that the manufacturers boast about and, their backup cameras and all the gadgets that make us say, ooh and ah, this is fantastic. Nobody said, hey, this payload number, that's the little one where we really need to figure out what your tongue weight is and ensure that you're not exceeding how much that vehicle can carry. Not what it can tow. What it can tow is what you can pull. And I've used this analogy many times. I said, imagine, a piece of furniture in your home. You're in your bedroom. You've got a dresser, right? You could probably slide the dresser around yourself. You could tow it. You can push or pull the weight. You can move it. But if you have to pick one end of that thing up and drag it around, that's what you can carry. And there's a lot of difference. And it's the same with tow vehicles. It could, push or pull a certain amount of weight, but what it can carry is entirely different. I wrapped up with the last guy. Again, told him I was, looking at a Dodge diesel. And this guy says, I've been here 17 years. 17 years. Gave me a cell phone. Very nice person. And, I'm like, I have a double side ramp, 3-horse gooseneck, really long wheelbase, fully loaded. trailer's like 9, so I'll be hauling around 13,000 pounds. And anyway, he came back and said, yeah, no problem whatsoever. This vehicle will do it. And again, it was about a 2,800 pound payload rating on that vehicle. And this particular trailer would be about that much as well. So it would already be maxed out on that one. So it was a bit of an eye-opener. I didn't call any trailer dealerships. I didn't do that. It's probably something that I should have done, or I may do in the future. And, play the devil's advocate with some of those folks and just see what information that they are forthcoming with. Whether the dealership is really concerned about my safety and ensuring that I'm purchasing a trailer that, the vehicle will handle and all of those things. But my best guess is 9 out of 10 times you probably will not have that experience. They'll tell you what you want to hear. Yeah, your half ton's great. You're good to go. Look it up. It'll definitely pull it. We have a new book coming out soon, and one of the things that we advocate in there and promote is in regards to, all the towing terms, GAWR, GVWR. I mean, there's so many terms and payload, and many manufacturers, they try to complicate the process of figuring out, and many manufacturers don't offer the information readily. And I'm talking vehicle manufacturers. They don't offer the information readily so that you can determine, dissect all of that information. The only two numbers that you need to be concerned with are the weight that you're hauling, the weight that you're carrying. That's it. No other numbers. We don't need to get sidetracked on many other things because, if a vehicle is rated to carry 2,500 pounds of weight, or if it's an SUV that's rated to carry 800 pounds of weight, well, guess what? You're not going to exceed those other numbers like gross axle weight rating or gross, the capabilities of the tires. All of those things are already taken care of by the manufacturer. So total trailer weight, total trailer tongue weight, and by the way, I don't know of hardly any manufacturer in the United States that manufactures horse trailers and stamps the weight of the trailer on the tag. We'll all stamp the GVWR, which simply is the capacity of the tires and wheels and axles, but not the trailer weight. So again, you're sort of locked into what the manufacturer says it weighs or what the dealer may tell you that it weighs. And same with tongue weight. There's going to be a variable there in trying to determine that. But it is important to ensure those numbers, work within the tow vehicle.